So I assume some of you are vegetarians? Obviously not. It's a strange setting for comedy, isn't it? But it's quite good because it reminds us to eat healthily. And it's quite difficult to eat healthily, largely because a lot of the fresh fruit and veg that you have to eat perishes. Only the other day I thought I'd have a nice rocket salad, but it went off before I could eat it. Talking of food, I treated myself to a new sandwich toaster the other day, but I regret that now. I want my old one back. I think it's definitely a case of better the Breville you know. I hate peer pressure, I really do. Never used to, but my friends told me to, so I didn't. I got a new job recently, but I really don't like it. It's getting me down, and it's quite weird that the job is to create the little bubbles that go into fizzy drinks and then force them through a machine into the can. So depressing. So why is the subject of your own sex life in front of your mum and dad a complete no-go until you're telling them you're going to have a baby? Because at that moment, people forget what causes it. There's no other time in my life I could have gone round to my parents and sat them down and said to them, it's about 12 weeks ago now that we had a cracking chat. But that is realistically what you're telling them when you say you're going to have a baby. If I'd done that at any other point, the best I'd have got from my parents would have been indifference, probably some embarrassment, and no, my mum and dad, maybe a bit of anger. You're doing that? Well, yes, I'm 33 now, so I've been active for a good 6, maybe 7 years. Bit of a player. But when you tell them that, they start getting a little bit nosy. But my dad, he did the maths. He said, right, okay, so that's 12 weeks. That's about 3 months. That's about your birthday. Is that those oysters you had that night did the trick? Thank you, Dad. Yes. We told my other half's dad. He turned into a bit of a nosy cockney. He went, oh, give us the details. What do you want, a fucking position? It was my birthday. I wanted to take her up the arse, but that was vetoed. And I thought that would be the most embarrassing thing about having kids, but that's not the case, because a few years later we decided to try again, but we were having trouble. So we had to have the tests and all the rest of it, and on the morning of my first test, my car didn't start, so I had to phone my mum and explain very briefly and get her to take me up to the hospital. My appointment was 1 o'clock and we turned up at 1:45 and there was nowhere to park, so we drove round and round for a long time. And then from nowhere, about 3 minutes to 1, she just swung in the disabled bay, looked at me deadpan and said, you're not going to be long, are you? I'll just wait here. Thanks, Mum. I might now be infertile after wanking to a pot when the doctor wants, and my mum thinks I've got premature ejaculation. I felt $1 million that day, thanks for that. So it seems we all got the train. Robin seems to have got the train lately. I did. I got the train down today, and a gorgeous Thai girl got on, sat opposite me. And I just couldn't take my eyes off her. For 2 or 3 stations, just kept staring at her, and I was thinking, please don't get an erection, please don't get an erection. But she did. Have you noticed, I assume people down here get trains. It's weird in the southeast, there's that thing that doesn't happen in the rest of the country where the train splits. It's comprised of a large number of carriages and then it goes to one station and it splits. That's fucking confusing, isn't it? Because you do 2 things. First of all, you forget which is the front and the back. So you get to the train, well, is the front the way the train's going or is it the front that's here? And you remember, no, it's the way the train heads, so I'm at the rear of it. And then you're looking, okay, I need Canterbury West, and that's in the front 4. That would be quite easy, wouldn't it? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go in. But no one does that. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just in case. Just in case that suddenly I can't count, you've got to or maybe there's 9 carriages, maybe they're playing a trick and the middle one's a free-for-all. That's not quite as annoying as using the self-service checkout, is it? Because it doesn't matter if you're buying 1 item or 300, this will happen to you. Beep! Unexpected item in the bagging area. And you think, well, how the fuck is this unexpected? I've just scanned it. This should be thoroughly anticipated item in the bagging area. It even says it there. King size men's Kleenex tissues. Thank you. We're obviously in tune. On that subject, seen the new advert last couple of weeks for men's tissues? It's a very hunky man in a garden chopping wood, and then he stops because he hears a baby cry. So he runs inside, he picks the baby up, attends to the baby, then he puts the baby down, blows his nose, and that's the end of the advert. And obviously what it's trying to say is, buy these tissues because they're really strong and sturdy and they would be useful for a lumberjack, but equally they're tender on your nose in the same way that you would care for a baby. What bollocks? Who's going to buy tissues on the back of that? Advertising for men's tissues should be men. Do you like wanking and sometimes get a cold? Buy these. So I mentioned kids earlier. Some of the stuff we say to them, the sing to them, the nursery rhymes and little songs, it's just total rubbish. And one that really gets my goat is the one that goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, once I caught a fish alive. It's just really shit, and I don't like it. I've in fact rewritten this song, and I'm going to share it with you tonight. It's a little gift for you. I'm going to give you a new song. So I've rewritten it because most of it is rubbish. And first of all, I don't like the numbers. I don't really know what purpose the numbers serve, so that they can go. Then the first line becomes, once I caught a fish alive. And I've got two issues with that. One is that we aren't French, and our adjective should come before the noun, once I caught a live fish. And secondly, I would have thought that's pretty obvious. I'm not sure many people go fishing for dead fish. I thought inherent within the implication that you've gone fishing is that it's alive. The next line is numbers, so we ignore that. And then it says, then I let it go again. You let it go again. So you've already caught this fish and let it go, have you? And now you're letting it go again. So this is new information. You're confusing me. You didn't tell me this in the first line. Why did you let it go? Because it bit my finger so. Well, other than to rhyme with the word go, that serves no purpose, does it? So that's just cluttering things up. Because it bit the little finger on my right. That's very specific, isn't it? I mean, if the bite is so bad the finger's hanging off and I'm the surgeon reattaching it, I need to know which finger. But for the purposes of a little ditty for a kid, I don't think we need to be that precise. So my version, which I'm prepared to share with you, is I went fishing the other day. Caught the same fish twice. It bit me though, so I threw it back. Now, it's not as punchy, and kids won't sing along, but it's semantically and grammatically much more accurate. So we've had very few Maggie jokes tonight, haven't we? No Maggie jokes. I'm not going to... She's very divisive, isn't she? Even in death. So I'm not going to make many jokes, but I watched the news unfold on Monday on Sky Sports. No, I didn't. On Sky News, in fact. That would have been very strange, wouldn't it? On Sky News. And there was this really weird sort of half hour where one of the reporters, first of all, kept referring to her as Prime Minister Thatcher, which I thought was a bit odd because obviously she wasn't towards the end. And then he genuinely, this is honestly true, he got so lazy, he honestly kept referring to her as PMT. PMT was PMT. And I thought, that's a bit strange, isn't it? But then I realised perhaps it's quite fitting and certainly ironic because towards the end, the biggest criticism of her, obviously, was that she didn't know when to throw in the towel or make way for new blood. And if only I could deliver that properly, it probably would have. Okay, so I've got a new party trick. I put 2 bits of cotton in my mouth and I pull them out my arse. I shit you not. Okay, I'm just going to leave you with a quick tip. Before you go to bed every night, before you go on holiday, always turn off all electrical appliances. There are 2 exceptions, fridges and life support machines. Otherwise you waste a whole lot of vegetables. Thank you very much.